निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशतारिणे वंशाकल्पतरोभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो सर्वशास्त्राभ्यपीयूषा सर्ववेदैकसत्फल सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैकदीप्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभु कलिध्वान्तोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानन्दपाठाय प्रेमवर्षाक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमस्तुमे मदेकबन्धुमत्सङ्गी मद्गुरो मन्महाधन मन्निस्तारकमद्भाग्य मदानन्द नमस्तुते असाधु साधुतादायिन् अतीनीच चतारक भानमञ्च कदाचिन्माम् प्रेम्णारित्कण्ठय स्फुरा श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय So, dear devotees, you are able to see the slide?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So, today we are beginning Unit 4. This unit deals with Lord Krishna's departure from Hastinapur to Dwaraka, and we will be going through chapter 10 to 13. So, in today's lesson number 1, we'll be discussing these main points as the principles of leadership from the life of Maharaj Yudhishthir, and then reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Then the ladies of Hastinapur talks about power, excellence, and glories of Krishna. So these are the main theme flowing in our today's class. These are the three main topics for lesson 1. We'll be covering entire chapter 10. So overview of the chapter goes like this. In the first 6 verses, there is question by Saunakarishi, because in chapter 8, Saunakarishi asked, actually Sutta Goswami, while narrating the past times, he came to a point where he explained about that Krishna, after completing his activities in Hastinapur, when Maharaj Yudhishthir became the king, became the ruler of Hastinapur, then he was about to leave for Dwarka. And at that time, there was a gap created because then he had to narrate about the situation of Uttara, who came running towards Krishna for protection, being afflicted by the Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama. And then in that connection, he continued speaking about the prayers of Queen Kunti, how Krishna, he protected the embryo of Uttara, the last seed of the Kuru dynasty. Parikshit was saved in the womb of Mother Uttara, and following which the prayers of Bhishmadev was discussed, and so there was a kind of difference created, and Krishna could not go to Dwarka at that time. So therefore, in the beginning of chapter 10, he's going to bring in the same subject matter under discussion. And then in that connection, he's going to discuss about the situation of Yudhishthir's ruling and how he was ruling the kingdom. So in that connection, we will be discussing about the principles of leadership from Maharaj Yudhishthir's ruling. And then from 7 to 30, Krishna departure from Hastinapur to Dwaraka. Then the ladies of Hastinapur express their appreciation to Krishna. And at the end, Lord Krishna accepts the prayers of the ladies and leaves Hastinapur for Dwarka. His journey basically is described for the rest 31 to 36, how when he mounted on the chariot, then he was passing by the different provinces, Guru, Jangal, and other places, until he arrives at Dwarka. And how the residents of all these provinces, they approached Krishna with their tributes, and how Krishna reciprocated with them finally until he reached Dwaraka. That is the subject matter under discussion from 31 to 36. So, in the beginning, Soma Rishi asked questions to Goswami about Maharaj Yudhishthir's ruling after the Kurukshetra battle. So, here we need to see the connection between chapter 9 and 10. So, in the last chapter, chapter 9, that was the discussion about the passing away of Vishnudev. We have heard when Maharaj Yudhishthir was greatly aggrieved because of the death of his relatives, and Krishna made an arrangement that different rishis must console him by citing different histories from the Puranas. However, Yudhishthir Maharaj could not be consoled. And finally, Krishna had to bring him near Vishnudev, where he heard from Vishnudev about the religious duties of a king and many other subject matters. Then finally, Vishnudev, while praying for Rati, attachment unto the personality of Godhead, he left this body. And after that, Yudhishthira Maharaj, the Pandavas, they performed the final rites for Vishnudev. And then he came back to Dwaraka. Then what happened? Pitra Chanmuto Raja Vasudeva Anumodita Chakara Dharmam Chakara Rajyam Dharmena Pitri Paitamaham Vyu. And after coming back to Hastinapur, he became the king of the Hastinapura. And under the permission, you can say he actually ruled the kingdom, but he offered his utmost respect to his uncle, Dhritarashtra. Whatever he would do as a king before executing the royal uh, authority, he will confirm, he will actually take guidance from his uncle, and which has to be confirmed by Lord Krishna. So that is how, even though he was the king, the ruler, still he was always taking consent from his uncle and Lord Krishna. That is how he started ruling the kingdom. Then chapter 10 begins. And so in the beginning of chapter 10, Srila Sridhar Swami, he writes, Dasame Krishna Dasame Kritakaryasya Hastina Puro Purato Hare Strihi Samstuyamanasya Varnate Dwarakagama. What are the subject matter that are described in this chapter 10? Dasame Kritakaryasya means now Krishna's desire is fulfilled. Krishna wanted Maharaj Yudhishthira to become the ruler. So now his activities are completed because now Yudhishthira Maharaj has become the king and Hastinapur Hare. Now he is preparing to leave Hastinapur because his duty is completed. That is what been explained. Then Sri Samstya Manasya. And then when Krishna is about to leave Hastinapur, then the ladies of Hastinapur, they praise Lord Krishna and Varnati Dwaraka. And his travel to Dwaraka is been described in this chapter 10. So in the beginning of this chapter, so let us read from the book. First verse, Sila Sisaunago Vacha Hatva Spariksprid Atataina Yudhishthira Dharma Bhitam Varishta Sahanujahipatyavarudha Bhojana Katham Pravritta Kimakara Siddhata. This is a very pertinent question asked by Saunaka Rishi, that he knew that Maharaj Yudhishthira was deprived of his natural inheritance. According to the codes of religion, he was a natural inheritor, but his inheritance was usurped by the Duryodhana and parties. They were actually Atatai. Why? Uh, we know there are 6 types of Atatais. One of them is one who plunder riches and attacks with deadly weapons. And so these Kauravas, the party of Duryodhana, they were Atatais, and they had usurped the rightful inheritance from Maharaj Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira Dharma Bhutam Varishta. Actually, he was a perfectly religious man. And so after he became the king, what happened? Saha Anujai Patyavarudha Bhojana. Patyavarudha Bhojana. Bandhu Badha Dukhena Sankuchita Bhova. Now, Saunakarishi is asking, in the Kurukshetra battle, Maharaj Yudhishthir had lost his relatives. So how he could enjoy his ruling as a king? Normally, a king, without having his relatives, his ministers with him, how can he enjoy the kingdom? So he cannot. Therefore, he is saying that Sankuchita Bhova, his uh, enjoyment as a king is now limited because he has lost his relatives in the battle. Katham pravritta kimakara siddhata. How did he involve himself in ruling and what did he do after that? So this is a very interesting point. Uh, so when Sonakar Rishi asked this question to Srila Goswami, so Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, the inquiry was important for Sonakar Rishi, who wanted to know about the behavior of Maharaj Yudhishthir when he was at ease to enjoy the kingdom. Uh, what did he do? How did he enjoy the kingdom? So these have been now discussed in the next set of verses. And the verse number 2, it speaks about the cause of this ruling the subject. Uh, why? The question is, she asked, Katham Prabhritta. If you see text number 1, Sonakrishi said, Katham Prabhritta. So, how did he rule his subject? When his relatives are dead, how could he enjoy the kingdom? The answer is given in text number 2. So it's a very interesting point. Therefore, we have taken this section under the principle of leadership that a leader, world leader like Yudhishthir Maharaj, who had lost his relatives in the battle, now he is becoming the king. What was the motive uh, behind becoming the king? Hmm? Normally he will be modest, right? But why? How did he take the rule of the king and the ruling? Uh, so that have been expressed in text number 2, Sudhovacha. Vamsam kurorvamsadabhagnirhitam sangrohayitva bhavavavano hari nivesayitva nijarajya ishvaro yudhishtiram pritamana babuva vamsam kurorvamsadabhagnirhitam. So we know that there was a big fire because of the family war between Kauravas and Pandavas, and almost all of them were burnt to ashes out of the fire of anger. And Krishna, he did a very miraculous thing in this connection. Samro Haitva, he actually secured the last seed of the Kurus. Uh, the Lord made the Kuru family sprout forth again. How? By reviving Parikshit. That we have heard already, that Krishna, he protected Parikshit in the womb of Uttara. That is what Ishta Goswami is saying, Sangrohaitva. He actually revived Parikshit in the womb of Uttara. And Bhava Bhavana Harihi Nivesayitva Nijarajya Ishvara Yudhishthira Pritamanava. By making Yudhishthir the ruler of Hastinapur, Lord became very much pleased because he has done his service. So in this connection, now from text number 2 until text number 6, we wanted you to do your service. Okay, maybe I can share the slide, right? Let me share the slide. Can you see the slide now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. What is the motive behind Maharaj Yudhishthir accepting the duty as a king? And what did he do to become a successful executive head? Then the second point, identify attitudes and practices in ISKCON, either consistent with or contrary to the principles adopted by Maharaj Yudhishthir. I hope you have read this. Maybe what I can do is I'll just give you 5 minutes, okay, without putting you in group. You can just take 5 minutes to go through this section and then come up with your understanding so that we can discuss with you these 2 points. Keep in mind that when Maharaj Yudhishthir had lost his family members, then what are the motive behind taking this responsibility as a king? Because we know he cannot enjoy the kingdom, right? Just to imagine somebody who has lost all his, family people, who he is going to share his opulence with. How can he enjoy? So, but what are the motive behind? Huh? So this is going to teach us the principle of leadership and how he became the successful executive head. And by keeping this in mind, you have to identify the attitude and practices in ISKCON, either consistent with or contrary to the principles adopted by Maharaj Yudhishthir. So let us have some kind of discussion on this subject matter. Is it clear what I am asking you to do, my dear devotees?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. At least one devotee said yes. Vishalji, are you clear? Oh, yes. Tell me.
Thank you so much for giving class, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Prabhu says identify attitudes and practices in ISKCON. There's so many practices that we do in ISKCON as an establishment. When I think about practices and attitudes, when it comes to practices, I think about the 7 purposes of ISKCON. That's immediately what I think.
Here, listen. Okay, good. Identify attitudes and practices. Means in ISKCON being a worldwide organization, every temple as a separate center or in collective form, we do execute some management duties. So our management duties are whether consistent with or contrary to the principles adopted by Maharaj Yudhishthir or not. That is reflecting in our practices and in our attitudes. Means how we manage, how is it inconsistent with or contrary. You have to identify. Okay, you see, my dear sir, you are reading Bhagavatam and this is giving the very interesting point about how Maharaj Yudhishthira ruled the kingdom. And when he did not have anyone to share his opulence with, and how did he do? What is the mood he accepted? So you should capture this principle very clearly in your mind, so that in future, if one of you taking the leadership role in ISKCON, at least you understand how you can be a successful leader like Maharaj Yudhishthira. Is it clear? Okay. So maybe then what we can do is, from now on, I will give you maybe 10 minutes. 5 minutes is not enough, I think. Let us take a little more time so that you digest everything properly and you are able to present it to the whole class. So I'll come back to you in 10 minutes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, what is the motive behind Maharaj Yudhishthir accepting the position of the executive head? Vishal Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So the motive behind Maharaj Yudhishthira accepting the duty as a king is to serve Lord Krishna, because he was
Is
basically
to
serve the Lord. It's to serve Lord. That's the main motive.
serve the Lord. Okay.
Also, he was actually the rightful heir on the throne, which was meant to be given before Dhritarashtra took it, usurped it through devious means. So he accepted it as a responsibility, although he didn't want to, because all his cousins were killed during the battle of Kurukshetra.
Okay, good. Okay. Rangamai Ramakrishna Prabhu. Haribol. We are not able to hear you, Prabhu. Okay, Sucharu Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. In the text number 3, it says Bhishmoktam Achutoktam. So he actually followed the instructions. If you see in the purport, it says he had but to follow the instructions of the infallible Lord and the Lord's representative and authorized agent, Bhishma Dev. It is instructed in the Shastras that one should follow the great authority and the infallible Lord without any personal motive and manufactured ideology. Therefore, it was possible for Maharaj Yudhishthira to rule over the world. So he followed the instructions given by the authorities.
Yes. But what was the motive behind? Why?
To please the Lord.
To please the Lord. Good. Excellent. Okay. One more last comment from Madan Mohan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, an important point Prabhupada says that, selfish motives, it is not possible to rule with selfish motives, because let's say there are two kings, and both kings have their own ideological ideology. Then there will be differences, and the point is this, that everything is under Krishna's governance or rule. Now, only when we dovetail, or the kings dovetail, then only they can rule. Otherwise, like say, you see, like Indian Prime Minister or whichever president or Prime Minister, they are not able to please their citizens. The reason is this, because they are not following the Lord's rule. They have their own ideology. Then no citizen will be happy.
So now you are going to the next point, the success of Maharaj Yudhishthir, right? How did he attain success being the executive head? How he successfully managed the state? Now we are looking forward to hearing from some. Prema Gaurangi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So the points I got is cooperation. So there was cooperation between Maharaj Yudhishthir and his brother. And this is, we can see it's quite consistent in ISKCON. And sometimes it's also contrary, because we have the tendency of not cooperating with each other. And then the other point also that I got was that he was following the footsteps in the instruction of the previous leaders. So which is one of the points that Srila Prabhupada emphasized on, by also he was following what his guru told him, and the previous acharyas. So as leader, we should be able to do the same and share the same for the next generation.
Srinivas Gopal Prabhu, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So the point I got is that conscious cooperation. The last, I think, the sixth. So it's I think the conscious is the Prabhupada put in the purport. So that's that makes the Maharaj Yudhishthira successful. I think from ISKCON point of view is the the servitorship. So basically our mood is so most of the temples that we are trying to do all our service in the servitorship, so that we're serving keeping the Lord in the center. That's the principle. Also the protecting the cows, and I think that's also one. So the point I think is that when the Lord's properties are pleased, when Lord is pleased and the Lord's properties also pleased, I think that's mentioned in one of the purports. So I think I would gather those 2 points.
Okay. Pachimata?
Krishna Prabhuji. I think one other point is the ultimate cause of success is the Daiva, the supreme kings. Like Maharaj Yudhishthira knew perfectly well that the king is the agent of the Supreme Lord to look after the mass of people. So he perfectly knew that he is the representative of the Lord, and he is just an agent of the Daiva. So every one of his subordinate kings were inspired to pay the taxes, and that's how he became successful. And that's how he could rule over the.
How is this principle compatible with ISKCON system of management and administration, or if there is anything not inconsistent with?
If I can compare this with the ISKCON institution and the GBC as a body, I don't know if I'm making the right comparison here. If GBC as a body and all the temples around the temple are aligned to the principles and the standards laid out by the GBC body, and everyone is following according to the rules are laid out by the GBC. So similarly, if we can compare Maharaj Yudhishthira's reign or his ruling of the kingdom as the GBC and the other subordinate kings.
Okay. Let us hear from Narahide Prabhu.
Prabhu, one of the principles here that Maharaj Yudhishthira had, also because of his nature, is he did not have any enemies. So when we are in management, anything goes wrong, first thing they will blame is management. But the management should deal in such a way based on compassion, rather than, oh, he's saying like this, he's fault finding. So this is another important principle, is when we when we are taking management position, we have to have that large heart, and we should not deal with the people who are under our care or in our congregation, especially when they don't cooperate or they don't follow instruction. But we should deal like how Maharaj Yudhishthira dealt, with the same attitude. So this is another principle.
Last comment from Indra Prabhu. Okay, we shall go after. He's just.
Actually share something. Thank you for the second opportunity to share. So what I got from the actual verses was so there's like 3 kleshas, the Adi Atmik, Adi Bautik, and Adi Depa klesha. So we're suffering from them anyway. But then when we serve under the Lord, we basically accept the sufferings caused by karma, conditioning, and Krishna. But also based on my understanding from the verses, and also made some really important points about cooperation, is conscious cooperation, but it's like knowledge and detachment, because in verse number 3, it talks basically, it says that viduta vibrammaha, so it's basically washed of all misgivings. So the knowledge is there, so knowledge and detachment. I think Prabhupada mentions as well in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, so in verse 1 to 225, the Yukta Vairagya verse. So we need to be detached, but we need to serve Krishna constantly. So in this situation, what Yudhishthira Maharaj is doing. And it also mentions in the Bhagavatam, in the first canto, the second.
Okay. Just remain limited to this one. Okay, last point from Indra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So the point I have is that because of the spotless and flawless character of Yudhishthira Maharaj, all his subjects loved him. So similarly, Prabhupada always said purity is the force in ISKCON. So a leader should be having spotless and flawless character, and also acting according to, like, as a servant leader, not as a boss. So that's why his subjects loved him. So that's the point I wanted to bring.
Okay, so let's hear some comment in the chat box. So devotee is saying, the basic principle of economic development is centered on land and cows. Farm community and Goshala is given importance in ISKCON. This is compatible with Maharaj Yudhishthir's action. And then the other comment is coming from Maharaj Yudhishthir was a recognized agent of the Lord, and therefore the Lord protected him, and so all of the citizens under him were also protected by the Lord unless one is pious and recognized by the Lord. He cannot make others happy. I thought this is important too, like Sachimata said. Okay. Yes, let us pick something. I don't know how you will take it. Maybe you can say palatable or unpalatable. I don't know, whatever you say. There are certain attitudes and practices we adopt, which are actually contrary to the principles adopted by Maharaj Yudhishthira. For example, let's say there is a term called Swajan Poshan. You know the meaning of Swajan Poshan? Swajan Poshan. Swajan Poshan means, I would say in English. Okay, let me explain it. I don't know, I cannot tell it in one word. Swajan Poshan. Swajan Poshan means you are only comfortable with work, where you are only comfortable to work with your yes man. For example, you become the temple president, your brother should become the treasurer, your wife should become the head of the congregation preaching, and your son should be the head pujari in the temple. Okay? This is called Swajan Poshan. Now, nepotism. Yes, good, excellent. Yes, thank you. This is called nepotism. Because you can see the good qualities in other people because you feel very much comfortable to serve with your people who are your yes man, surrounded by your yes man. In some understanding, they say, yes, because people don't cooperate with me, what can I do? So it's better to work with people who cooperate with us. If you are a true renunciant, you are giving leadership, then you must know that unless you become free from jealousy and enviousness, envy, you cannot make Krishna happy. You are simply trying to please your personal whims. You are trying to satisfy your personal whims. And at that situation, what happens? Like here, if you see, what did Maharaj Yudhishthira do? Okay, so I think I want to present this slide now. Before we come to this point, now I'll just present one slide from Prabhupada to explain that Maharaj Yudhishthira, even though he had lost all his almost prominent people in his country with whom he was supposed to share the royal happiness, but still he accepted the rulership. And why? Why did he do? Because, as you said, some of you said, because he wanted to please Krishna. Can you see this slide? Vishal
Yes,
Prabhu?
Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. We can see the slide.
Somebody can read from the slide.
He wanted to satisfy the Lord. This world is created by Krishna, and he wants to see it is properly maintained. And who will maintain? His own representative, not the demons. Therefore, king is supposed to be a representative of Krishna. He will maintain this world properly. A Vaishnava, he knows how to utilize everything for Krishna. So he's a Yukta Viraga.
Continue.
The aim of this creation is giving these conditioned souls another chance for liberation. That is the purpose. When he saw now Maharaj Yudhishthira situated on the throne for control of the world, he, Pritamana Bhava Bahuba Vaha, he became satisfied. There is my real representative and he will work nicely.
Okay. So first of all, this is a very interesting, this is the most important quality of being a leader. That there are different type of people. Do you think in the regime of, under the regime of Maharaj Yudhishthira, all the subjects were cooperating with him, they are listening to him 100%? There are no enemy? There are no people who are jealous about him? Of course, this is the material world. There will be some people who will not like the head. So similarly, when you take up leadership, never expect that everybody going to like you and they will kind of, cooperate with you. But at the same time, what is your intention behind? Because you want to just simply satisfy the Lord. You want to do things for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. And the principles should be adapted based on the dictations of the previous acharyas. Like here in this case of Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was instructed by Bhishma and Achyuta. He just continued. Maharaj Yudhishthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishmadev and Lord Sri Krishna, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge. Anyway, that is what is coming next. Pravritti Vijnana Viduta Vibhrama. The Vibhrama, misgivings in the heart are not eradicated when we don't follow the perfect leadership, the principles of perfect leadership. How? Because we have got individual ambitions, which may not be inconsistent with the desire of our acharyas. So therefore here, the next thing is, how did he become successful as a executive head? That has been defined in purport 2, text number 3. There are a lot of good things coming up here. Sorry, 4 actually, 3 and 4. Let us read some slides. Can somebody read this slide?
Successful executive head. Maharaj Yudhishthira had no ideology of his own. He had but to follow the instructions of the infallible Lord and the Lord's representative and the authorized agent Bhishmadev. It is instructed in the Shastras that one should follow the great authority and the infallible Lord without any personal motive and manufactured ideology.
Continue.
Therefore, it was possible for Maharaj Yudhishthira to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles were infallible and universally applicable to everyone. Purport 10.3.
Maharaj Yudhishthira did not have ideology of his own. He did not manufacture any ideology. Would anyone of you like to elaborate on this? Manufacture ideology of their own? Sometimes, do the leaders have the ideology of their own? Yes,
Yes,
Madan Mohan Prabhu, please. Srinivas Gopal Prabhu, anyone? Yes.
in the purport, Prabhupada said that imperfect beings cannot generate a perfect ideology. So that's
No, that's what. See, this is what I want to bring to your attention. We always try to manufacture our own ideology, and we expect everybody to listen to us. Is this compatible with Maharaj Yudhishthira's reign?
no.
No. Any comment? In this connection, I'm expecting some comments.
Prabhuji, sometimes as a leader, we can come up with our own rules and regulations. We prepare it, and then we ask everybody else to follow the protocol that we have established. Not necessarily that Srila Prabhupada wanted it like that, or the local GBC wants it like that. And we also observe that we could be like when we look at Srila Prabhupada, he was giving everyone opportunity to serve. Even a newcomer, they would get service to do. But sometimes we set up so many rules and regulations that we don't give everyone the opportunity to serve in ISKCON.
Okay, just in this connection, without mentioning any name, okay, would you like to share the experience that what happened to the leadership where the rules and regulations were manufactured by individuals that are like his personal ideology without following Prabhupada or following GBCs, without respecting or getting the local devotees involved? And when such kind of ideological administrative system was adopted by the leaders, what was the consequences?
Prabhuji, you asking me or?
Yes, because
Yeah.
you said this.
Okay. So for me, what I see when this kind of thing happened, we lose devotees, we lose people, and like we see in the verse 1, when Yudhishthir Maharaj he lost his family members. He was grieving for that. He felt the pain.
So what did you learn from this experience, Mataji? Good. What
For
did
me,
you learn?
what I learned that
yes.
we don't want to lose devotees, because like how Srila Prabhupada said, it takes buckets of blood to make a devotee.
Good. So the point is you don't want to lose the devotees. Now, if you are in the leadership position, what would you do differently to ensure that this problem does not arise in your congregation or in your temple management?
I think, Prabhu, the most of the time, the biggest problem is communication.
Hey, I'm asking you, if you are in the leadership position, what would you do differently to rectify the situation?
I would sit down and talk with the devotees, and also before taking this kind of decision, I would also inquire from other seniors, am I taking the right decision when putting these kind of rules and regulations in the temple?
Very good.
Thank you.
You see, we all are conditioned souls. What a great sadhaka we are still in the material body, we are in the material world. No doubt we will make some mistake. So mistake is ought to happen in our decision making. When we are trying to create our own ideal situation without referring to the desires of the previous acharyas or the leaders of the society who are trying to manage the society, then what will happen? We will become a stumbling block in the growth of the society or progress of the movement. On the other hand, sometimes you may say, Prabhu, what to do? There are some people, actually, they don't follow Prabhupada. They say something else, this happened, that happened. You may also come up with some kind of, points where you may find as a society, sometimes things may not be at par as what Prabhupada wanted. So, if you come across certain situations like that, this is like an extreme situation. It doesn't happen like that. Then what should we do? See, this is the operation happening here. Operation means painful. As a teacher, I have to bring it out to your attention because we sincerely seek some valuable change happens through the study of Srimad Bhagavatam to our culture, our etiquette, our activities, our motives, attitudes. Therefore, we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam, not to just study something. So if you happen to see there are some kind of steps being taken in the moment by some individuals which you feel maybe not compatible with Prabhupada or previous acharyas. As we said here that it is contrary to the principles, then what do you suggest? What do you do at that time, my dear devotee? Jai Munir Prabhu, you want to say something? You want to hear? Or you raise your hand for something else? Okay, he's not there. Nimai Nitai Prabhu, did you raise your hand to comment on this or for something else?
Yes, Prabhuji. Just wanted to share some of my experience and realization. And so you have mentioned that the Swajan portion, right? That's a yes man. So
Nepotism. Yes.
nepotism. So what in the management style, like, what we have to do is whoever is our congregation member, right? You make them a family member and bring them to your, council thing, or whoever is in the council or board member, whether they are coming from the different so-called different families. But now we become a Prabhupada family, so we become a Prabhupada family and make them have some extra relationship with them, develop as a whatever like relation you wanted to establish with them, but make them a family member so that like close or very close or intimate relationship with them, so that we can work very cohesively with each other. So that's
Okay,
what.
so you're taking the discussion in a different direction. Okay, I'll just pause my initial discussion for a moment, and I'll just attend to, then I'll come back to my discussion, my dear devotees. Just keep in your mind what I was discussing. Okay, so regarding this Trojan portion, this nepotism, dear Nimanita Prabhu, what we are especially trying to focus on there is, we have seen in ISKCON, at least I have seen, without mentioning the name or anything, I can just tell you, father is occupying one position, son is occupying another position, and the another son is occupying another position, and the decision is being taken in such a way that fathers is getting some earning from there, then that is going to the son's department. Son is also taking the decision to favor the father's earning. So totally polluted atmosphere. Devotees can clearly see it, and everybody starts talking in the society. Not that we are all children, right? If I start favoring my disciple, put him in the temple president position, and he's a nonsense number one. He's just swindling money, he's after women, he's doing what not, all against devotional principles, and I still favor him because he's my dear disciple. What is this? What is this? How are you going to maintain purity in your society, organization? What people are going to talk about you, my dear sir? You are a big guru. This is how you cannot run a spiritual organization on worldwide basis. You are having a lot of dirt in you, my dear sir. Don't spoil the society. What do you think? You are the great person? This is killing us. Those who are sincerely serving, you are demotivating them because of your kind of nasty decisions, nasty way of maneuvering the society, organization. You are polluting. You are creating poison. So that should be stopped. You are studying Srimad Bhagavatam. You should know that, okay, I am one person. I got this body. After I leave this body, what am I going to get with me? What am I going to take with me? The purity, what you work for, work with, the pure intention. Krishna is going to see through that. He will take care of you. Have you realized this?
Yes.
No?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Yeah, I was
So,
coming. Yeah.
so the point is, yes, people who join in the Prabhupada's movement as a Prabhupada's family member, you include them as a Prabhupada. Are you actually tuned with this consciousness, or you are still having oh, he's more qualified than me, he's occupying this position, I'm still jealous about him, he's not my god brother, I should not be bringing him into the temple administration system and then management board.
Yeah, that's very true, Prabhu. This is very normal that we are seeing everywhere. And
what I'm saying is, I'm not expecting that you will 100% listen to me and you will change. Not you. I'm just, in general, I'm talking, my dear devotees. Don't misunderstand me. I am here as a teacher, and I have the right to tell the truth. Sometimes it may be unpalatable, but because I am teaching Srimad Bhagavatam, and I don't want to say something which is not the message from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is not the principle taught in Srimad Bhagavatam. I have to tell the truth. And what I have seen, I am in the movement for last 37 years. I have seen a lot in my life. And sometimes I'm not happy. Now coming back to the next point, my point. When you find there are certain things which are actually beyond your control, because you cannot control the situation. Individuals are individuals, and they have their way of doing things. Certain people that come together, team up, and take decision to do something, even if you single-handedly trying to do something good, you are not being favored because their number is bigger, their team is bigger than you single-handedly. What can you do? So what should you do in that situation? It's a practical thing. You should not get demotivated. You should not give up your service. But you, as a Vaishnava, Vaishnavi, if you have heart for Krishna, if you have studied Srimad Bhagavatam, in such kind of, I would say, pressing situations, pressing issues, and polluted environment, what should be your approach, mood? Radha Vinod Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry Prabhu. So you said what should be your approach? So please guide us, Prabhu, with your experience. Because I'm very much eager to hear that answer from you, Prabhu, specifically.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So you really touched to the point, and I think we are also there. Sometimes we say that ISKCON is becoming a kind of a profit organization, trying to make a money, be selling prasadam, whatever you do. I don't want to go into that, and just the motivation is that bringing temple better, adding a better rooms or better facilities will attract the people, but that was not the motivation of Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
No, what should you do? I'm asking you. Don't.
So again, I'm coming back to you.
See, what I'm saying is,
I personally believe
we don't have to, recite so many incidences.
No,
so
I'm
many
not
things
giving.
So no. Please, don't misunderstand me, Prabhu. Because as a teacher, I have to take the control to see how much I want to expose you to say something which many people may not like it. So that's why I'm telling, let us not.
Yeah, I want to add you, Prabhu, what I would do. I normally keep, because we know the Lord will expose these people sometime. So keep your motivation positive. Do what is the best you can do in these circumstances, because you can't change the scenario around by yourself or by getting some people. You can't do that. So God will expose these people, and that's have a faith in Him. Do you keep yourself positive and do what is the best?
Okay, good. Thank you. So before I go back to, because Nimanita Prabhu told me to kind of give my comment, but I'm just taking time out just to hear from Santi Mataji. You want to say something on this in this connection?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes. So if I might share what I've done when things have happened where I can't control, is definitely forgive and forget. It's a very hard thing to do, because oftentimes what I've experienced in ISKCON is people do things without having life experience, so they don't know, and they might do something that's very, very hurtful, but not meaning to. And so that's how I've dealt with. And then based on that experience, if something's happened to someone else, then I have said something. So in a way, I've felt like I've solved the problem by helping others.
Okay. Even though I said this is last from Santi, maybe you can last from, who want to say? You can volunteer yourself. Okay, Vishal Prabhu, this is last.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. That's really interesting discussions. I was sitting here because I'm probably the youngest in the group, Prabhu. I've got no experience in management at all. But from my understanding, I've attended Bhagavatam classes in the past, and Bhishma Dev also said when it comes to any disagreements, it's always important to get the facts first. So it's important to be factual and not make to concoct things in the mind. But also, it's important to have empathy for others. And I was listening to a class a couple of months ago around misjudging and judging others. So judging others and misjudging them. And basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was misjudged. Krishna was misjudged as well. So it's important for us not to judge other people or misjudge them, but to get the facts first and then have empathy for people when they make mistakes, because we're not perfect. We're still conditioned. We have our karma,
Okay.
so.
Okay, good. So thank you, dear devotees. I'm not going to invite any more comment. So now let us come back to what I have to say, because Nimanita Prabhu clearly hinted that I should say something in this connection. Okay, my dear devotees, first of all, you should know that you are working in a Vaishnava society. There might be, Vaishnavas in your consideration, somebody is superior to you or somebody may be inferior to you in their experience, way of dealing with things, whatever you may say. But first of all, you should know that you are working in a society where you are dealing with Vaishnavis. What does it mean? It means, even if you see at circumstances when you are perfectly following Shastra, you are perfectly following Prabhupada, you are perfectly trying to please the previous acharyas, it seems like the authorities above you have misunderstood your intentions. And you are not able to communicate to them in a way where they will be able to understand you. Either they may not have time, or they may not have the patience, or they are not ready to hear even, whatever the reason may be. At that situation, at that time, you, without having fault-finding mentality, if you have been given with some responsibility to execute certain duties, you can just simply follow your dharma. Your dharma means what you have been asked to do, you just simply do it. You will see it when you are not envious, you are not taking decision and executing something with fault-finding mentality. If you are sincerely trying to serve Krishna's cause to please Guru and Gauranga, I can assure you, you will be successful, and the misconception people might be carrying about your approach will be eradicated in due course of time. The question of time. That's all. I can share with you from my personal experience. What happens? Sometimes people who are sitting on the top position, not that everybody is against you. You can find maybe like there is one or two dominating person who are controlling the discussion of the team. Maybe there are 5 management people sitting in the table. Only one person or two person, they become so dominating, and other 3 persons comment are totally kind of put into the waste basket, and the decision have been taken at the table, just whatever the 2 persons are talking about, whatever reason may be. And many people, they know that this is wrong thing. Many times it happens like that. In my experience, I have seen it, and Krishna has given them good lesson in due course. 37 years of experience is nothing, Prabhu. If I start talking, I can share you many things. But I have seen those who are having dishonest motives, dishonest approach, jealousy. Krishna gives them lesson in no time. And you do your dharma, your duty, as you have been instructed by, or what you see repeating from Shastra. you'll see Krishna is there with you all the time. But one thing is, you never try to be envious or a fault finder. Like, you know the best and all other people are at fault. Never think it like that. Though this is a very, very kind of, tedious journey, but Krishna tests. If you want to do something for Krishna, you should to kind of learn to tolerate. Prabhupada had to kind of leave the Gaudiya Math because nobody could understand what he was trying to do. It's like an example I'm just giving you. I'm not asking you to leave the society, but this is a kind of an extreme situation that forced Prabhupada. Prabhupada is a kind of important representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he can do. But the point is that how much situation was difficult, tough for him. What he wanted to do, it could not be achieved. So he had to kind of, go elsewhere to start his movement. He was sincere and Krishna provided him everything. So when we practice our dharma, dharma rakshati rakshaka. If you protect the dharma, dharma will protect you. That dharma means the guidance, the ideology given by the Guru and Gauranga, previous acharyas. You follow that, act upon that. You will see things will become normal with you. Vishal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I've got a question. So I was actually reading the Bhagavad Gita recently and was going through chapter 17, and it talks about the different types of penances, and just thinking about penance, because being patient is a kind of a penance. So patient is kind of a penance. And I was thinking about the penance, the different kinds of penances you can perform, the different modes, and I was thinking, okay, so penance performed, so this is Bhagavad Gita 17:19. So penance performed out of foolishness with self-torture to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So I was thinking, so if I was in disagreement with something that was somebody else was doing in a service, that can also be a penance. But penance in the mode of goodness is basically just having faith and then also just doing what Krishna is desiring, but necessarily we don't know what Krishna is desiring. So maybe
you can know what Krishna is desiring by following Shastra, the dictations of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. That's it. That is what Krishna wants.
But then
Krishna is definitely not going to come to talk to you personally to tell what he wants. But Krishna has told what he wants in form of religious principle to be practiced by us in Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literature. So you follow that.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, Prabhu, I had a question in regards to the penance performed in ignorance. So if we were to be patient and not say anything, would that be penance in ignorance, or would it be in goodness?
No, here I'm not saying that you don't say anything. What I'm saying is, you don't, sometimes people say, what do they say? What happens is, you don't have to put a lot of emphasis on to certain things. Rather, what is correct, that should be adopted. Correct in the sense that what Shastra says, what Guru and Gauranga wants, that should be adopted. Not that you just keep quiet. No. Sometimes you can tell the same thing, how you talk, it makes a difference. That's why I use the word emphasis. Like you call a boy, come here. Come here, my dear baby. See, I tell come here, right? First I said, come here. Or baby will say, oh, maybe he's going to beat me. He'll never come to me. Yeah. You say, come here, my dear baby. Say, oh, he's going to give me a laddu. He'll just come to sit on your lap. Similarly, when you kind of speak, even though it's kind of painful sometimes, it's like you're not able to, but you're a devotee, you're supposed to be detached. And what makes so different in your approach that somebody listens to you, they don't listen to you, that they make their wrong decisions, and it's not going to affect you. in the sense that if you are in the leadership position, you do your duty properly. The point is, as you said correctly, we are not ready to undergo penances. Penance means, if you are a true leader, I can tell you, a true spiritual leader sometimes had to go through a lot of even physical suffering. You ask somebody to do certain things, they will not do, and you as a leader have to go there, stand to ensure that cooking is completed, because 1,000 people are queuing in 1 hour time to get prasadam. So you as a leader has to sacrifice everything at that time, go and stand in the kitchen, ensure that prasadam is cooked on time and it is being distributed properly. Oh, no, I am leader of the temple president. I have got so many other things to do. I told cook did not do. 2 people, they were absent. What can we do? My dear sir, there can be so many excuses. Material world is imperfect. What did you do as a leader? What kind of austerities did you take to your body to ensure that you were personally there and you were personally doing things to ensure that things are done on time as per the desire of our acharyas? Not that we are saying you just keep quiet, or not that I'm telling you always you raise your voice. No, there's a way how you communicate. Therefore, in the management, there is a training called communication skill. Even though they sometimes kind of just speak without adding the mood. Mood has to be added to the communication skill. Not that you just give plastic smile always to people, then people say you are a good communicator. That doesn't make any sense in Krishna consciousness. That is rubbish. Even though sometimes some people they adopt in Krishna consciousness also, I have seen, like plastic smile. What do you mean by plastic smile? You make somebody stand on the reception desk and tell them, oh, whenever you meet with somebody, just give him a plastic smile. Why can't you be a natural person, natural devotee? You are sincerely trying to serve your guests who are coming to the front desk to deal with you. Why don't you add that sentiment to your behavior? Automatically, you will be smiling. And that smiling, which will come from your heart, it will bring pleasure to the guest. And of course, Lord will be pleased with your service. You understand, Vishal?
That makes a lot of sense, because when you were mentioning how we speak, it's also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as well, like text 16, austerity of speech. Thank you, bro. Thanks so much. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Jai Manohar Prabhu, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry, I was there before, but yeah, so I will not say what I wanted to say that time. I'll ask a question that I have in my mind now. The question
before
is...
Before we go to the question, Narendra Prabhu, you want to say something, share something in this connection?
Prabhu, even I have a question, so if it's okay.
Well, okay. Sorry, my dear devotee. This is a very interesting topic, and I feel that because we are all adults, let us not hide our feelings and what we see, what we have perceived. Let us try to understand, analyze the things from a proper Krishna conscious perspective, so that next time when we are coming up to meet with certain challenges, so to say, such kind of abrupt situations, we know how to deal with it. At least some kind of an experience we are trying to gather here. Okay, is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Jai Manohar Prabhu, what is your question first? Then we'll go to Narendra Prabhu, then Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. My question is, like, you gave this very nice, example that how we should do when such bad situation happen. Then you keep on doing your service, and like over a period of time, the misconceptions get removed. But my question is, like, suppose when you are in a power of authority, but there are some devotees who are naturally very, how to say, they don't want to displease others. They are very soft, like say out of those 5 people, 2, 3, those may have good intention and they can clearly see these 2 dominant people, but because of XYZ reason, they don't say anything. Then it's difficult. And then you see, say, other side, I'll bring another angle to it. Suppose there is another senior devotee which is being offended by these these other devotees who are dominant players. Then sometime when it comes to you personal, maybe it's okay, but when it when sometimes things try to cross the limits, what you do?
No,
And
listen,
even in those situations, sometimes.
Let me kind of clearly understand the case study you are presenting. Okay. Now there is a management board which has got 5 members. There is discussion happening between the 5 members. 2 are dominating, 3 are kind of very sober, and these 2 are actually controlling the decision. And you are not in between these 5 members, you are outside, and their decision is affecting you. This is one case study. Another case study is you belong to this 5 group, members of this 5 team. Which case you are actually referring to? First case or second case?
First case, bro.
First case.
Or I will need to know in both cases what you will do, like, because
this is something kind of regarding administration and management leadership thing. I have to kind of speak because this is what Yudhishthira Maharaj is kind of doing and Prabhupada is commenting. So please don't mind. This is turning out to be like in a management class, but this is the discussion. Well, in the first case, because you don't belong to the decision making team, but their decision is actually affecting your service. So in that situation, I gave you the kind of the system or the mood to be cultivated, that you never try to look at them with a bad eye, or a suspicious eye, or in a fault finding mood, that why did this person take this decision? Whenever he decides, he's always angry with me, that's why he's taking something which is not favorable to me. Never think it like that. My dear Krishna, you so DJ, okay? And if sometimes the situation happens like that, even though they're in the decision making table, they're not actually fully controlling your situation. And at some other time, they're in the decision making table, at the same time, they're also controlling your situation. There are different actually varieties, I mean, different angles to it. So in the first situation, if they're in the decision making table, they're not 100% controlling your situation, your service, then what you do is you be chased to Prabhupada and Acharyas, Guru and Gauranga. And you do, because they are not in controlling position to your service. They're just decision makers. And without having any ill feeling, without bad mouthing, without being being a fault finder to their decisions, you just follow your dharma. On the other hand, when they are in control, what to do? You have to adopt this principle that be a genuine Vaishnava, make proper deliberation to what is the situation. If necessary, talk to some experienced devotees and find the way how you can communicate your message in a pure form to these people, because they are in control. If you are not able to communicate your feeling, your understanding in an understanding way to these people, they will anyway make your life hell, because they are in control. Try to understand this. Therefore, you as a courageous devotee must understand your position, build the stability of your approach, stability to your approach, and then talk to them in a way they understand that you are not just a sentimentalist. You know what you are talking. You are talking some substance here. I'm telling you, Prabhu, if you're talking with full gravity and being convinced of what you are doing, Krishna is sitting in their heart. He will bring the understanding to them. That's for sure. Then, going back to the previous situation, that if you belong to one of these 5 decision makers, where you are in the table, decision making table, and 2 people are kind of dominating, even if you have some good interest to do something, take the good decisions, anyway, they are not allowing you to do that. You have to see how long you want to tolerate it. After all, you are an individual. If it is affecting your consciousness too much, you can say, my dear sir, I think I'm not being very productive here. please excuse me. And you invest your time and energy in areas where you can be more productive in Krishna consciousness. That can be a personal preaching program, whatever. Very simple. You have to withdraw yourself. Or if you feel that there is a way, you can very sweetly deal with them to kind of make them understand how it can be, which is unlikely in most of the cases. So you have to, in this situation, you should know the where and how to draw a line for your personal good in Krishna consciousness. If there are 5 people, 2 of them are too dominating into the entire year, you have been noticing that whenever you approach with some sadhu bada, with some saintly approach, these people are just cutting you off. And you feel like I'm getting frustrated all the time. Why should I kind of be part of such kind of committee? Just take, okay, my dear sir, I feel I'm not able to be, I'm not a good contributor, I'm not being productive here. I could see it. You have to genuinely express yourself. And then some other you have to kind of take off.
Thanks, Rohit. And what I found is like when there is a senior devotee, it's very easy deal, or junior also easy. But when it's at your level, or what, and if they become arrogant or rude, then it's like they will not listen you because they consider we are same time. But at the same, so, and if the senior devotees are also, they are say soft, if you approach them humbly, so then situation becomes little difficult.
Yes, at that time when you are dealing with the people who are of same age as you, similar, on equal platform, normally what you have to do is you don't disturb them. You don't hurt their sentiment. You always remind yourself about your duty, your responsibility, and if you have to kind of favor them certain situations, which is going to become like make them become stronger, and again they're going to bite back to you. But you know that you as a leader, genuine servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to just tolerate. If you have capacity to tolerate. If one that is going out of hand, then you have to find some other way.
Thanks, Prabhuji.
Does it make some sense, dear devotees, what we are discussing? Or we are getting bored? This is, of course, those who are not in management, they may feel it is quite boring for them. Anyway, you should know that you should know that whether you are in the temple management board, or you are running your own company, or you don't have anything, my dear sir, at the end of the day, you should know that you are the leader of your own life. You are the leader of your family. If you are brahmacharya, you don't have family, you should know that you are the leader of your own life. And your leadership is not limited to you only, because you have to deal with different people in different situations. You have to be involved in different types of services. That's where you should learn the art of being a leader, to present yourself in an appealing manner so that you are not being deprived of achieving the goal in your Krishna consciousness. That requires some skills and understanding to become a true leader in a room. Okay, now we are going to the next. Narari Dev Prabhu, you wanted to ask a question?
Yes, Prabhu. So I never understood that concept of ideology until today. And you really very nicely explained about how sometimes imperfect leaders have their own ideology, and as a result they cause chaos. And one example you gave was like in ISKCON, where sometimes we create so many rules and regulations that basically discourage our congregation to engage in devotional service. So my question to you was like, you have 37 years of life experience in ISKCON. Can you please share?
Not a big thing. Don't for that.
No, Prabhu, I can say like it is like, I mean, I don't even know. Maybe some people are not even 37 years old in this class. So it is significant, at least. So I wanted to ask you, Prabhu, can you give some additional examples of these ideologies that you have seen and something we should try to avoid and be mindful of?
Oh, sorry, I said 37. I think 27, not 37, right? Yeah, 27. Sorry, no, not 37. 27 years of experience. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, bro. Can you please share some additional examples of these so-called ideologies that you've seen in ISKCON that we should be mindful of, so that we don't commit those mistakes?
You want me to give a list of ideology?
So ideologies we should try to avoid. Some mistakes we should avoid.
No, that should be work of the whole team, entire team. Why you are asking only one person to find out all the kind of ideologies? No, I don't do that, and I don't have intention to list down all these things to displease somebody. Anyway, you have understood the concept and the principle, what I'm trying to explain, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. It's very clear. And I also just wanted to make one comment. I know Jai Manohar Prabhu because I serve with him in the management, and he's a true sadhu, I can say. And we are very grateful that I'm serving with him.
Good. Okay, then Prem Gorangi Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, I just wanted to add one point that in verse 3, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes on the fact that Yudhishthira Maharaj was full of knowledge. So when we are in management position, we should invest our time in getting educated and also learning the new things that are happening within ISKCON. So for example, you mentioned earlier that there are courses about communications, right? So now that the strategic planning team are offering all these courses, as managers, as summit leaders or in the leadership role, we should be always like keep on educating ourselves, just as we do in the office, right? We keep
Yeah. Okay.
So that's very important that we keep on doing that, because sometimes what happens, the leader stays the way that he's been in 10 years back, and that same mentality goes on like that. And at the same time, we should prepare our next generation. Like right now in North America, there's the ISKCON 3.0 that is being worked on. So that what we are doing right now, preparing the next generation that is coming up, right? So at the same time, we're training the youth so that they can become leaders in the future. So it's very important that education.
Better. You should gain the experience and share your experience with the new generation. That is best actually, because in management, these are all kind of skills, and normally skill sets are more effective when it is taught by people who have that skill. Means one who has gone through a lot of life experience, they have attained the skill. If they teach from their experience, that becomes more effective. Otherwise, there might be some armchair philosopher sitting in the armchair, don't like to go to the field because it is strong sun. It's very strong sun. Construction is happening. I can't go to the sun because I'm the leader here. I have to sit in the AC room. I'll just pass the comment. I'll just pass the decision because my duty is to just pass the decision. But you have, my dear sir, you have failed to see that without going to the field, that what are the challenges? Sometimes it's happening. There is no water. There is no electricity. There is no kind of, workers are not coming on time. There is some kind of, problem happening. You can't see that. And you don't see that. You're just sitting in the office and passing some decisions. It doesn't help. How did Prabhupada start this movement? How he became so successful? Whatever you say, he is the empowered representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is a direct associate of the Lord, whatever you may say, but you see what he has done. He personally worked. I mean to say, he was using his hands and legs. Practically speaking, his physical body was, most of the time engaged in Krishna service. Are you doing that? CV's iPhone, who is this?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. I just like to mention something. As you said, if we always tolerate the bite of others or even withdraw ourselves when we are not, it means when we are not not with them, then how we gonna establish what we are thinking?
Did I say that you always tolerate and what you said?
Withdraw, it means, as you mentioned that.
Did I mention, first of all, just wait. My dear devotees, have I said you always tolerate and you withdraw? I was most of the time, listen to me. I was trying to teach you how you can deal with the situations in a more matured manner. Means how you talk, how you pass on the message, what is the mood you cultivate in terms of not looking upon the higher authorities with a judging mood, with a jealous mood, fault-finding mentality. These are the points I have been repeatedly communicating. When you say just tolerate is one thing, not that always you tolerate. No, you can, tolerance has also got some limit. That means you need to learn how you don't kind of underestimate your personality also. If you have something to contribute for Krishna, you should be also intelligent enough to share your points in a more appealing manner, in a sweet manner, so that it is acceptable by other people. Otherwise, they will not listen to you. And what a good thing you are doing, what a good thing you may have in your mind, is all useless because you don't know how to present it. Many times the misconceptions, the misunderstanding happen because we don't know how to present ourselves, how to communicate. That becomes a main problem actually. Therefore, you have seen in big companies, why do they keep all these, the efficient communicators to go to the market? Because they can, they can win the heart of the people and they can sell the product very nicely. Same thing, you are trying to sell your own product to your high authority. You should be more expert to kind of know how to deal with the situations. Does it make some sense, my dear devotees?
Yeah, thanks, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, can you just change your name from CV's iPhone? Just you can, your name CV?
It's Shubal Dasa. Initiated name.
Just change your this icon saying Subal Das from CV's iPhone.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so yeah, I was thinking, I don't know whether this discussion was helpful to you or not, or you got some kind of help from this discussion or not. I'm not sure, but in any way, because some of you got involved and you intrigued me, I felt like let us have some discussion. So we spent some time. Last point, Narayana Prabhu.
Prabhu, yes. So one question here. So in one of the purports, I think in text in verses 4, Srila Prabhupada mentions that when when there is when there is regulated rainfall and there is a sufficient growth of crops, and also under certain astrological influences, there is production of valuable jewels like pearls and so on. So is there a way we can try to extrapolate this analogy to our current situation? Like if the leaders of ISKCON try to follow properly under guidance from brahmanas and authorities, does that also manifest, meaning manifest to our congregation where we can really see like devotees like gems coming out?
Yes, that's true. That's true. Of course, sometimes it is very, very difficult to change a person's behavior. You should know that. They're just saying, how many times you clean a coal, the dirt, the coal still remains. That is what it is, the kind of dirt of a conditioned soul. But coming in contact with Krishna consciousness, they can be 100% pure also. But it's a very hard washing, I can tell you. Hard washing.
Okay, Prabhu. So as leaders, Prabhu, we just continue stick to the process, right? Like there's nothing we can do.
You become a better sadhaka, first of all. Before becoming a fast, you should know that what is your first identity? Your first identity is not you are the temple president. Your first identity is not that you are the father of Mr. So-and-so. Your first identity is not that you are the husband of Mr. So-and-so. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not minimizing all your responsibilities in the area of being a husband or being a father, being a temple president or a company manager, company, director. No, but these are not your first and qualification, first identification you must know. Your first identification is you are a disciple of Mr. So-and-so and trying to serve Krishna under the able guidance of Guru and Gauranga. This is your first identification.
Yes.
And then you try to evolve your life centering around this understanding.
Thank you, Prabhu.
You're a servant. Vishal Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Last question, Prabhu. Prabhu, do you know the verse? There's a verse that we're meant to chant before doing deity worship, saying, "I'm not a Kshatriya, Brahmana. I'm just a servant of the servant of the servant." Do you know the verse of that, Prabhu? Because you
Yeah. Naham vipra na chanarapati na pi vaishya na shudra naham banhe na cha grihapati na vanastha jatirva kintu paddan nikhla paramananda purna mritabdhe gapi bhartu padakamalayo dasa dasa nudasa Naham vipra na chanarapati na pi vaishya na shudra naham banhe na cha grihapati na vanastha jatirva. You have got the point. This is your first identification. Okay, so I think before we conclude, let us read maybe one or two more slides remaining in this section, and then okay, we'll conclude this discussion for today. You have read this, right?
No, Prabhu, I don't think we read the previous.
Okay, can you read this? Yes.
Maharaj, successful executive head, Maharaj Yudhishthir had no ideology of his own. He had but to follow the instructions of the infallible Lord and the Lord's representative and the authorized agent, Bhishma Deva. It is instructed in the Shastras that one should follow the great authority and the infallible Lord without any personal motive and manufactured ideology.
Personal motive. As long as you have personal motive, you will have your manufactured ideology to apply and find your own way, because you have some hidden motive. If you don't have any hidden motive, you will just simply follow the dictations given by the authorized agents. Therefore, continue.
Therefore, it was possible for Maharaj Yudhishthira to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles were infallible and universally applicable to everyone. 10.3 purport.
Many times in our organization, we see some devotees are allergic to accept what Prabhupada has said, what Shastra says. They say, "Oh, Prabhu, this is too much, this is too much. We cannot follow. We have to kind of make some adjustment. No, not the Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada did not know what will be this world situation after many years. That's why he said something, and you feel now it is not applicable. It is not practical to adopt. Never think it like that. So the principles which have been given by the Acharya, those are infallible, because they are the authorized agents of the Lord. Then the next, somebody else.
Successful executive head. The conception of one world state can only be fulfilled if we can follow the infallible authority. An imperfect human being cannot create an ideology acceptable to everyone. Only the perfect and infallible can create a program which is applicable at every place and can be followed by all in the world. 10.3.
When I was reading this, I was being reminded about what I heard from some individuals. This conception of one world state. I heard there is a group in the world who have been spreading this corona situation, and they were trying to control the entire world to make it like a one world state, and they are not infallible. There are a lot of faults in them. They are conditioned souls. How can they control the world? It's impossible. So similarly, even if in our little world, if we have been given with some responsibility to control certain situations, to administer certain departments, a temple, whatever, company, your house, your personal life, then try to follow the infallible authorities' dictations. See, this is a very interesting point. Sometimes a management. What is management? Can you read this? Who was telling management? What is management for you? Just read it.
Successful executive head. It is the person who rules and not the impersonal government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. If the person is a fool, a government is a fool's paradise. There is that is the law of nature, and there are so many stories. There are so many stories to imperfect the kings or executive heads.
Therefore,
the executive head must be trained person like Maharaj Yudhishthir, and he must have the full autocratic power to rule over the world. The conception of the world state can take shape only under the regime of the perfect king, like Maharaj Yudhishthir. The world was happy in those days because there were kings like Maharaj Yudhishthir to rule over the world.
you see,
10.3.
when Prabhupada is saying the executive head must be a trained person like Maharaj Yudhishthira, and he must have the full autocratic power to rule over the world. Sometimes it becomes like very, like a shaking statement that you have a autocratic ruler. No, here autocratic power to rule the department of your life, whatever you may say, ma'am, that autocratic power means you have been trained and you know what is the principles to be adopted, which have been given to you by the authorized agents, representatives, or you have seen from Shastra. Then you are applying that. Not that autocratic power involves you decide your own ideology. That is not autocratic power here. You have to understand this. Some people, they have this problem with this word autocratic because outside world, modern world has misused this word autocrat. You don't become autocratic to take your own decision. No, you are becoming autocratic to implement the decisions of the authorized agents. That is the meaning of autocratic ruler here. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj, you are just simply executing what Bhishmadev instructed him. What Krishna has approved, you are just simply executing it. That's all. He is a perfect autocrat. Then anyway, I think we have seen this. I will not bring it to you. Okay, we have read this, right? 4, 5, 6? No. Some of you hinted this. Okay. Then from next week, we will start from text number 7, I think. Okay. From text number 7, we'll start from next week. Okay. So we will conclude our class here because this was a very important discussion. We belong to this organization and we hold some responsibilities to do our service. Therefore, we had to spend some time in discussing this to benefit us, ourselves. Your next reading assignment is till the end of this chapter, chapter number 10. Vishweswar Govinda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, you should know that the mood of this group, this is not that we are, running to just complete something. No, we sometimes spend more time on certain topics because my mood is I am studying Srimad Bhagavatam to self-improve and find the ways how I can apply the principles what have been delineated in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. In that way, this is a kind of voluntary group. Everybody is volunteering to study together, to learn things and improve in our personal life. There is no force as such that we have to like this, and whether you understand. At the end of the day, you feel, oh, I have completed my study. You may question me, Prabhu, how deep you may go, what perfectly, systematically you may read, still you forget. I know. But still, we want to kind of, go like this. And we have been going like this. So, because you are new, I should also express to you the mood of this study group. Am I correct, my dear devotees, or I am trying to throw my words in your mouth?
No, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. No, you are. This is what we expect, and thank you for that, Prabhu.
Okay, then good. You are with me. I'm happy.
Yes, Prabhu. We no need to rush too much.
Okay. Yeah. Let us learn something, nicely. Because Bhagavatam study is a lifetime study. I take Bhagavatam study as lifetime study program. For me.
That's for sure.
Okay. So then, dear devotees, you can read the rest of the chapters for next class, starting with text number 7, and then we will finish this chapter in next class. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Dandavat pranam.
Of you are keeping quiet like a super soul at the end, just saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I will thank you more and more when you become more active and become contributor in the class. I know it's a big group, but I'm not. There is no kind of hindrance for you to raise your hands. It doesn't take any money. There is no charge for you to raise your hand. Okay, you can, and you can contribute. So please be more active in participation, and that will give me more joy in teaching Srimad Bhagavatam to you all. Thank you, dear devotees, once again.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.